What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday and you're ready to talk AMC stock. We have arguably the biggest catalyst throughout the whole entire year so far of 2021 happening tomorrow in after hours, and that is, of course, AMC's earnings. There's a lot we're going to go over directly what is expected to come out on earnings, but ultimately I want to give you guys my price target and how long I think it'll actually take after earnings to hit this price target. We're going to take a look at where the short and long positions currently are at and what price tag they are at as far as the 13F filings. We're going to go over some of the other stocks that have been beating on earnings, that have been going through massive rallies and much more. So let's not waste any time. Let's get into this video. I hope you guys are enjoying your Sunday. Truly, thank you. Love all you guys for watching these videos and making all of this possible. Now let's get into AMC. Let's talk about what is going on. And obviously on Friday, this is the first thing of just a key sign of bullish sentiment. Friday was the second to last day you could buy AMC to essentially play earnings. Tomorrow is going to be the last day because obviously earnings are an after hours, but it does look like we should see a strong start to the week, a strong Monday, because we did go up 4.12% in regular trading on Friday, and then we did go up 0.12% in after hours trading. So this is definitely showing you guys a strong bullish sentiment, and I think at this point, because obviously we've had low volume, the stock's been range bound in between $35 and $40 for a very long time. So I don't think it's necessarily retail investors buying back into AMC or buying more AMC per se. I think we've been doing this the whole time. I think it's hedge funds and institutions that are setting up for the rally. And if we see a strong day coming on Monday, I think that is going to be the case, especially if we do not see the option chain start to populate on Monday. Why that is because hedge funds and institutions, they're going to trade options, but I do think they're going to be buying more shares because relatively speaking, it's a lot safer to buy shares in a company instead of play the options and essentially buy shares at a premium at a date further into the future. When you don't know exactly what's going to happen, I think it makes sense to say at least that the hedge funds and institutions, if we are bullish tomorrow up 5 to 10%, that they are the ones that is causing all of the buying power. I don't think it's shorts covering because you wouldn't wait until the earnings run up like we seen on Friday, likely to see on Monday, start to cover on your short positions. You would have done that back in the $30 to $35 range because we all do know what happens on earnings with AMC stock 2 to 4 weeks after the earnings day. Back here in March, we went up 60%, went up 1,000% back here in May, and went up 100% back in August. So I don't think we're going to break this trend because this is a very important quarter. Now, there has been high expectations across the board for many different companies because 2020 was kind of slowing down. Now we're at the end of 2021. Investors want to see profits and they want to see companies at least on the right steps and growing revenue, which is what we are going to see with AMC stock. We've seen Cinmark, they beat Zacks consensus estimates for their revenue numbers by about 4.6%, and I think AMC is going to beat that a lot higher. Their estimate for AMC is $768.8 million. So I do think there is a potential to come in at $1 billion of revenue. If that happens, guys, I cannot underestimate to you the kind of move that we will see, likely due to a lot of factors. And let's talk about that briefly right now. Now, a lot of you guys were very concerned and worried when AMC was having this very low volume. Maybe you still are. Whatever the case is, this is a bullish thing when you're looking at the potential for FOMO buying to come in, for the shorts to cover, all of that, because with this low volume, we should be cratering, but we're seeing core groups of obviously apes holding onto the stock. And essentially when you see low volume, if shorts wanted to get out of their positions all at once, it's very hard to do that. That's why we've been seeing the days to cover at this last last exchange reported short interest day, which was October 26th, come in at 2.22 days, meaning if all 92.24 million shares wanted to be covered, it would take 2.22 days to do so. When you mix that with a reason to buy the stock, the company is getting better, and FOMO buying as well as gamma squeeze activity, that's where you see the massive rally. And we have not had this low of volume going into an earnings report in a very, very long time, guys. This is lower volume than we even seen back here in March. We seen considerably higher volume back in March before earnings. In between, take a look at this. In between 77 million, 76 million, 60 million, 113 million, and then the day of earnings, 256 million for volume. That was back in March. That was before this major rally in June. So we're seeing this super low volume, and I think that is setting up for the possibility to see a massive move. And this is very, very exciting. That's something you guys need to know. Low volume equals bullish heading into a big catalyst. So that's basically the rundown. We're going to talk about my price prediction after we get into, the 13F filings, the institutional ownerships, as far as how many firms have actually bought or sold AMC in a dollar amount, as well as, like I said, try to pinpoint where a lot of these long and short positions are with the hedge funds and institutions. So let's talk about that right now. Let's go over the dollar amount briefly. And as you guys can see, for Q3 of 2021, $124 million bought of AMC. Only $1 million have been sold. So this is the best ratio that we have had in a very long time. This is even better than Q1 of 2020, where we did have $370 million worth bought and $13 million sold. If we were to have the same ratio, guys, we would see the same amount of buys for Q1 2020, 370 million, but only about $3 to $4 million dollars worth that has actually been sold. To put that into perspective, that's about 100% better than even the inflows to outflows we've seen in Q1. Hopefully that made some sense to you guys. Kind of hard off top to explain, but the ratios here are stupidly good. So that is a great sign right there. And as far as the actual 13F filings, you guys can see a majority of firms are just holding on to their positions. We're seeing some red here, but a lot of these are actually some put positions, and overall just smaller long positions as well. You guys can see right here, $60,000, $363,000 worth, and then there's a bigger one, $1,400,000 to $4,000 worth. So smaller positions that are selling out. Whereas the big guys, the real long players, are holding on to their positions. You guys can see right here, 81,000 shares at $47.27 per share. And I do think a lot of hedge funds and institutions that bought AMC before the June rally likely sold in between $50 and $70 per share. So I think a lot of these 13F filings, really from what we're seeing with the price action, this is one of the lowest ones that I've seen with all these filings that have come out, is $29.38 per share. Most of these are in between $45 and $55 per share is the average share price on these large institutional positions. So I do think you see a brand new batch of hedge funds and institutions, and I think that is going to give us a higher low once we do see that big rally. But I also think at the same time, there was a lot of short positions. Obviously, we don't know the exact price that they were actually taken out at, but I think there's a lot of short positions that really went in between this, what's this, $43 and even $53 price range. And even back here at the top end, in between $50 and $60 per share. Most of the short positions at this current moment, I would go as far as to say, are probably somewhat positive, because it doesn't make a lot of sense to short AMC back here in the $30 range at $42, pretty much where we're at right now. It makes a little bit of sense to do that. To do that relative to how we have been trading. In all reality, it doesn't. But these guys are not very smart, specifically when it comes to AMC and just shorting in general. Why would you short meme stocks? Why would you go against the retail investors? Who knows? But logically speaking, I think a lot of these short positions are probably in the positives, like I said, in between $50 and $60 for the most part, but some in between $40 and $50 per share. So once we do get up to, say $50, $55, $60 per share, once those short positions start to compress, and obviously these short sellers go from seeing a positive position to a negative or almost negative short position, they're going to be very likely to cover on their short positions. We know that the FOMO buyers are back in the market marketplace as well. So that's just something to top all of this off. But as we do know, CAR right here, Avis Budget Group, this thing went crazy from about $169 all the way up to about $500 and then back down still at $301. This was an earnings beat. You guys take a look at this. Microsoft, they were, they were the best high market cap performing big stock as far as earnings. They beat their revenue numbers by billions and billions of dollars, where some other, big market cap companies didn't beat their revenue numbers by large amounts. And you guys can see Microsoft has been absolutely rallying as well. Just back here, October 25th, going from $308 a share to $335, almost $336 per share. That's a wild move for a company that is over $1 trillion for market cap, as well as AMD. Take a look at this one. This is another beautiful earnings play. And it's very interesting because AMD, they had great numbers, great numbers. They beat revenue numbers by a couple $100 million. They are projecting even stronger growth for the next quarter and for next year after already having a 60% revenue increase from 2020. But they went from about $120 per share, and like I said, you didn't see a big move the day after earnings or even in after hours. They only moved about 2%, but throughout the next couple weeks after that, I think it's been about 2 weeks now, you've just seen a continuous upbeat with AMD stock, going from about $118 before earnings all the way up to $142, guys. You're seeing wild moves. There's no way to, argue this. This is happening in the marketplace. If you can beat on revenue and just, provide some path forward to keep growing revenue, companies are going crazy, and I wouldn't expect anything less from AMC. But the biggest thing overall is going to be what Adam Aron does say about innovation at AMC, what they plan to do to drive recurring revenue, what they plan to do. As we do know, they are entering the popcorn industry, and this tweet right here says AMC announces an expansion going into the multi-billion-dollar popcorn industry in 2022. Freshly popped at malls, home delivery, to go from theaters, and microwavable sold at supermarkets. So obvious. Who knows more about popcorn than AMC? On a peak day, we sell 50 tons of it. Obviously, AMC, very well known for their popcorn. I think all of you guys have probably had it at least one time in your life or not. But the profit margins on popcorn is some of the best in the whole industry. This is, comparatively to like Facebook or other tech companies that don't have to pay too much money to run their programs, in between 80 and 90%. When you first start off, maybe, 50% would still be good. If they sold $1 billion worth of 50%, that's $500 million for profit right off top. So this could be big. Obviously, will be big for growing revenue into the longer term aspects of AMC and the business, but I do think we're going to get even bigger announcements. And finally, as far as my price target, if we can break out, like I said, past 50 and really to like 55, 60, then I think you're going to see all-time highs. I think you're going to see all of these things that we have talked about in this video just culminate into a massive move. But like I already said, from basically the earnings day until we actually do peak out, it's about 4 weeks, and sometimes almost 4 weeks to the day, or obviously 1 month. So I don't expect to instantly just gap up. It will be great. I'll take that any day. I'm not going to complain, but I do expect a continued basically rally, just like we did see with AMD as well. Just the next couple of weeks going to be very exciting. Going to see big price movements to the upside, and I think ultimately we're going to go to all-time highs in the next 4 weeks, looking at $75, $80 per share. Very, very reasonable, and that's my price target. Keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, not a financial planner, or your dad, so ultimately come to your own conclusions. That is very important. Now, that is going to wrap up this video. Hopefully you guys got some value out of it and some context in why I am saying this. Hopefully you appreciate me just not, coming out and saying this without having any anecdotal evidence to support what I am saying. As well as that, check out the link down below in the description for Moomoo. Deposit $100, get up to $350 in free stock. 24/7 financial news. Like I always say, if you can get the news first or before a majority of people, that's where the money is made. Links for Webull, links for Public. You guys check it out. Get all the free stocks your heart desires, as well as a link for the buy and sell alerts. If you guys want to be notified every time I make a trade in stock, options, and or crypto, that is your way to do it, and we have been killing it. We may make a trade on AMC. Who knows? Only time will tell. If you guys want to be notified, that is in the description of this video. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.